Hi, this is Kimberly with Astrology Bodies, and this is my new moon video for June 28th, and the new moon is gonna be in Cancer. So this is where I really feel like we are definitely in the Cancer season. So technically the sun has been in the sign Cancer for a week, but now we got the new moon in Cancer. And it is square to Jupiter. So this is the chart for the new moon. This is set up for Pacific Coast, Pacific time. So the layout of it will be different depending on where you are located. But no matter where you are, this square will be in effect with Jupiter. So this really is going to describe the cardinal signs. Cancer, Aries. So it's a square, but it's Jupiter. So it's kind of a big kick in the butt, get you going kind of energy. Jupiter in Aries likes to move fast, likes to get going. So the cardinal signs are going to be mostly affected. So Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra. And even though there are no planets in Capricorn and Libra, the Cancer and Aries are still opposing or squaring. So it's triggering some kind of action here. Now, I just want to point out the Mercury and Venus are not quite in Cancer yet. They're still in Gemini. So we still have that mutable energy. So I'm going to be talking generally about groups of signs here. So I have already started with some cardinal sign explanation. So mutable, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. So these mutable signs have been dealing with love life situations. And so that's definitely going to continue on because both of these are going to square up with Neptune. And that's happening this month. And so the major theme for the mutable signs are what you're thinking about, clarity of thought. Mercury and Gemini is good for thinking processes. Usually good decisions are easier to make, but when it does square Neptune, things get a little harder to see. So just be aware of that. It doesn't last that long because Mercury moves fast, but definitely could be also a lot of thinking about love life, romantic situations. Again, that gets a little challenged with the square to Neptune. These squares and challenges with the Gemini planets to Neptune are happening mid-month. This next chart is showing the full moon. I'm not going to spend much time on it, just to point out, just to show that it's happening when it's happening this month, July 13th. And to show, here's that Venus square Neptune. And Sun will be opposite Pluto. So cardinal signs also getting some power play situations here. Mercury's not as strong here because it's so close to the sun and in Cancer. So I just wanted to point that out. There's more stuff happening after the full moon that I think is more interesting. And so here's the Sun Mercury conjunction. So when it's exactly conjunct the sun, that's when it's the most powerful. But it's just for that one day, not even actually the entire 24 hours, but think of it as kind of like a new start on what you want to focus on for Cancer season, what you're thinking about, especially as it regarding nurturing or self-care, taking it slow, being a caretaker. That's, the mother is the symbolic image there, but it doesn't, even if you're not a mother, that idea is that there is some caretaking, nurturing happening here. So it's Cancer season. These are the things you want to be thinking about. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of people that you need to, doing it to the best of your ability, that kind of thing? And it is opposite Pluto. So that definitely, that can bring up some, maybe some hidden things that you didn't know about, some hidden agendas or some motivations. Other people's motives may come to the surface. So this is going to last for another year, meaning Cancer is always going to be opposite Pluto. But Pluto very soon in 2024 is going to be going into Aquarius. So it's then it will be affecting fixed signs. Now I'm just going to point out real quickly, I'm going to bring up another chart, but just that Mars has already gone into Taurus by this time, by mid-month. And you can see that there's Uranus and North Node already there. So not only do Mars conjunct Uranus, which conjuncts the North Node, but the moon comes along and really triggers them all. So starting around the 20th, the moon's over here, comes along to Mars, then Uranus, then the node, and then moves on. So because they're all together here, that's definitely an emphasis in Taurus and erratic disruption, shaking things up, and also accidents. So be careful, be mindful. Don't do anything. If you are, tend to be reckless. If you are like that, just in general, try to hold back here. If you feel like maybe you're just a little clumsy sometimes, definitely pay more attention here. Now, to point out that Venus rules over Taurus. Here's Venus. And what's nice here is it's in Cancer. So that's in a sign that is harmonious with Taurus. Cancer and Taurus get along. It's a sextile. So not only is Venus starting to aspect these planets, she's the ruler over this entire conjunction. So that kind of eases it a little bit. So also what happens is Venus here is moving along, gets to 8, and it will square Jupiter. So that happens near the end of July. So it's the fact that it's in an aspect with Jupiter is a little bit more beneficial than if it was like it did with Neptune or Saturn. So it's a little bit more constructive here because Jupiter wants to get things going and it can help push this thing along. Taurus doesn't like to move, Uranus does. So there's a definite conflict of energy here. So things need to be shaken up when Taurus is involved to get things out of the routine. Now, just to point out also at the end of the month, Venus is squaring Jupiter and Jupiter is going retrograde. So right now at 8 degrees, Jupiter is barely moving. It's sitting here at 8 degrees for a couple of weeks. So that's happening right at the end of the month. So technically outside of the frame of this video because we're doing a new moon, from new moon to new moon. And I want to talk about the fixed signs for a little bit. So obviously this stellium and Taurus is affecting the fixed signs, Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. So we got a range here. If you're late degrees, any of those fixed signs, you're going to feel this more. There's definitely going to be a disruption. Things going to get upturned. You're going to feel topsy-turvy at the end of July. One last thing to bring up is Uranus squaring with Saturn. You can see, so that's not exact at all. Last year we had this 3 times, but they're not completely finished with each other. Saturn's going retrograde and it's going all the way back to 21 degrees, and Uranus is headed towards just about 19 degrees before it goes retrograde. So that will be the closest. It's not happening this month, but it's happening in a couple of months. just to point out that this here is part of this big square to Saturn. So that's that whole the revolutionary fighting against the system and routine. So there's those two different factions happening: the establishment, the anarchists, the things to the side that wants to change the system. These are still within range. We're still feeling that conflict here, and Mars coming along, it's going to go through Uranus node and then square Saturn. So Mars gets things going, it moves things along, it likes to speed things up. So definitely July 21st, that week there, a week around the 21st, that's when you'll notice some things shaking and stirring. So this is the last chart, and it's just showing you this Venus square Jupiter. You can see still here, July 25th, Jupiter is at that 8 degrees still, and Moon comes along to join up with Venus and square. So even though technically the Venus and Jupiter square doesn't last that long, the Moon comes along to trigger it again. So it makes it last a little bit longer. So it's not terrible, but think of it like a romantic storm, kind of. So if you look at it from the weather perspective, the square can create some humidity and some storm, mild storm, because these are benefic planets. So Saturn causes more of a problematic storm. It's definitely hot, humid. Think of it and think of those terms, maybe hot and heavy in a romantic relationship, but there's a challenge with it. It's so maybe short lasting, not lasting very long, maybe a quick, short summer fling or romantic interest here. So to sum up for the signs, cardinal is definitely a get up and go, get things moving, no stalling, don't procrastinate. You're probably not as likely to procrastinate here. So cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn. Fixed signs are getting shaken up, getting things stirred up. As far as your energy level, and since the node is involved, there may be too much shaking up too, because the north node tends to increase things more and more and more, and Uranus is the shaking things up energy. So if you're someone who likes to do that, you may be doing too much of it. Mars is going to stir it up. So look at yourself and how impulsive or not impulsive you are, and plan your energy accordingly. This is for fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, and Leo, and Aquarius. Remember, Aquarius has Saturn over here, so Aquarius is probably going to have an easier time, Saturn being in Aquarius. Aquarius having an easier time of not getting carried away with extremes. For the mutable signs, mostly we have not as much happening here. Earlier on in the month, I showed you when Venus was in Gemini, it was triggering these Neptune squares. So the beginning of the month, there may be some interesting mind connections or intellectual connections as far as romance, because Venus was in Gemini. Neptune just may make it, will probably make it very creative and aspiring, but probably not based in reality. As just be aware that it's more, it really is just for fun. It's not long standing, or maybe it's just a creative interlude. So that is my brief summary of the new moon chart. So the new moon encompassing a month. So from new moon to new moon. The next one is July 28th, I believe. So that one will be Leo. So right now, Cancer season, Cancer new moon. These are the major themes for the month, and come back for next month's new moon. Make sure to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter updates. I also have a free class on there, and it teaches you some basics about managing your daily stress and just looking at one of the planets. It makes it super easy. It gives you a list. It tells you exactly where that planet is for you. It's easy to follow. It doesn't take that long. If you need a reading, you can go to my website, find out my phone number there, or you can email me, and I can do an hour or 45 minutes. We can do one topic, or we can go over a general review of your entire chart. So hope to hear from you soon, and thanks for watching.